Hi everyone, my name is Gigi and welcome back to my channel. I'm once again sat on my floor because I want to have a super important conversation today. I feel like this is the type of conversation I would have wanted someone to have with me, but I never had. So today I'm going to sit down right here on my floor again and talk about relationships. I think for a lot of us women, the idea of relationships comes from our parents or romance films. But the difficult thing about those being your idea of relationships is that a lot is unseen, especially if you've grown up in a house with your parents together. You don't see a lot of the bad sides of their relationships because they simply, as a child, don't want you to see it. And of course, in films, they create these scenarios that's meant to show you the good and bad, but often the good is really, really good, and in the end, it always works out. But real life is not censored or a made-up story that you know from the very beginning. Relationships aren't like that. Relationships are difficult, and I feel like after being in one for a very, very long time, I feel like I've finally grasped the concept of what being truly in a relationship with someone is, what it means to be in love, to love someone, and also why people want relationships, why I want a relationship, and the pressures and the ideas behind why people do things. When I was younger, I thought it was so black and white, that it was so simple that I would just meet someone, fall in love, and love them, and they would love me the exact same. But that isn't the case. In fact, this is why so many relationships fail, because people don't realize that people love differently. I've mentioned before in my other videos, but I love love, right? I love it. I think that everything about love is just so beautiful. The idea of letting someone into your life, allowing them to be with you, take your time, take your energy, to live with you, to know your deepest secrets and insecurities. There's just something so beautiful about that to me, that it's human nature to want that. But actually, it's not human nature for everyone to want that. And they don't want it the same. It's not as easy for them as it could be for you and me. I think one of the most damaging ideas that I learned from very young is the fact that a relationship is supposed to be half and half. That you are half of a person and that other person is half of a person. And together you make a whole. That you should complete each other in a way. And the reason I think that is so damaging is that because you think that having another person in your life is going to complete you, you don't think that you can complete yourself. You have to have that other person, and they have to fill the gaps that you have left yourself. That's what I believed. That's how I started my relationship. That's what I believed in the first years of my relationship. And it is possibly the worst thing that you can think of if you're wanting a long-lasting relationship and you want someone to spend the rest of your life with, because in the end, you're not a half. You are a whole person. You have a whole identity. You have likes and dislikes. You complete yourself. So when you're constantly not progressing, you're holding yourself back because of this idea that you need someone else to complete you, that they're going to fill the gaps that you have and fix everything because that's their responsibility as your other half. But that couldn't have damaged my relationship more, because I allowed myself to be less of who I needed to be. I expected the other person to simply fix me, to be the confident one because I was shy, to be the outgoing one that spoke to everyone because I was too anxious to be the ambitious one, the one that made lots of money, the one that wanted to work because I didn't know what I wanted to do. When you live like that, when you live your life expecting someone to come along and save you, that's not gonna happen. The only person that can save you, make you feel better, is you. So when you're relying on someone else, not only does that put so much pressure on them, but you're quite literally limiting yourself to believe that you can only do so much before you need help from someone else. When I stepped back away from that relationship and realized that I've been going about it wrong this entire time, I do not need someone to complete me, to make up for the things that I'm not, to do the things that I'm too scared to do, and that I need to develop myself into a whole person, everything changed. Literally everything. Rather than feeling like I needed a relationship, I needed another person, that my life simply would not exist if I did not have another person in it, I was able to fill in those gaps myself. I could fully focus on me. I could understand that I don't need that person, I need myself. And for so long, I had relied on another person to do things for me, to be what I was not, that it was like rediscovering myself again. What did I need to heal? What did I need to do? How could I problem solve these things without a person? The reality is, you do not need a relationship. You should want a relationship, not need it. You should want the other person, not need them. When you develop a relationship so heavily on the fact that you rely on someone, that's no longer a romantic relationship. That's dependency. You have to depend on the other person to make you feel happy, to make you feel safe, to make you feel loved, to make you feel worth it. Those are the things that you should be doing yourself. It might sound harsh to say you don't need the other person, but it's true. You should never need someone to do things for you. You should never need someone to make you feel better. You should never need someone to love you so you can feel like you can love yourself. And that was my issue before. Before I started this channel, before I even started on my self-development journey, I used my relationship as a way of filling the empty parts of myself. I hated myself. I wasn't confident. I was severely insecure. And the only time that I felt good is if I was getting compliments off my boyfriend, if he was talking to me, if he was doing things for me. That is what love was to me. But that is not love. And if you are the same, if you're going through the same thing right now where you're in a relationship, you feel like the only time you're happy is when you're with your boyfriend, the only time you're happy is when he's doing things for you, or you are together, or he's complimenting you, but alone you feel very depressed, very insecure, you feel like you can't leave the house by yourself, there is an issue because you have become dependent on that person. And looking at it from the other person's point of view, can you imagine getting into a relationship expecting equal love, equal responsibility, and instead the other person is expecting you to love them so they can love themselves? And without you, they can't. Imagine the mental weight that puts on someone. Of course, in a relationship, you make a lot of sacrifices, but you should never feel like you have to do something for someone else. Especially these days, I see it so often and it breaks my heart, but so many young girls are getting into relationships before they've even developed a sense of self. They think that getting into a relationship is going to change who they are, develop who they are, will grow together. But the reality is they're growing into becoming dependent on that person. That person makes them feel better. That person does some things for them. That person fills their time when before they would feel depressed and bored and worthless. If someone had sat down with me and explained to me that relationships aren't meant to be a sacrifice of who you are. They're not meant to build your identity. They're not meant to shape who you are as a person. They're meant to complement that. They're meant to be alongside you, not the person to build you up. Then my relationship would have been completely different. My values in a relationship would have been completely different. And since learning this and since discovering what truly it means to love someone, that it isn't what they do for you, it isn't how many times they compliment you, but it's in fact how you view yourself and that reflects onto another person, everything changed. I've said it before in videos and I will say it again, but you cannot love another person until you love yourself. So I strongly advise to everyone not to get into a relationship until you truly know yourself and love yourself for being who you are. If you feel like you have all of these issues going on, you don't love yourself, you're severely insecure, you feel like you don't know where you're going with your life, you're really lost, now is not the time to be getting into a relationship. Because the only thing that you're going to search for is a fix to what you're missing in your life. A fix to make you feel better, even when things aren't better. And it's not just about the whole dependency situation and trying to find things that you need for yourself and other people, but it's also the idea of what a relationship should look like. Because so many of us are comparing it to films, books and these fairy tale ideas of love. When we get into actual relationships and we're faced with the hardships of being with someone, we feel like our relationship is bad. It's toxic. We should be getting carried around in a horse and cart like in the movies. But relationships are hard. You're gonna fight. You're gonna have disagreements. You're going to have days where you can't stand each other and days where you absolutely love each other and can't get enough. And I think people think that idea that coexisting with someone should be good all the time, that's what it's supposed to be like. And it's not. As much as you can be like someone, as much as you can have the same interests, the same routines, the same habits, yada yada yada, there's going to be differences. There's going to be differences in opinions. There's going to be differences in how you want to do certain things, what you believe in, little routines that you do differently. Maybe you make food differently. Maybe you work out differently. And where there's differences, there's always space for disagreements. You are never going to be exactly the same as the person that you're with. And that is completely okay. Relationships aren't meant to be good all the time. You're literally growing alongside someone. You are being your own person. You are discovering yourself all the time while being with this person, with them being stood next to you. It is so important to have these conversations with them, to understand where the differences are, to talk through what's going on, how you feel, how do they feel, what's their opinion. This is why I push communication so much in relationships. Whenever my friends have come to me saying that they've had problems in their relationships, they don't know what to do, I always say to them, have you spoke about it? Have you sat down and had a conversation where you've been completely honest, said your feelings, and listened to what they had to say back without taking it as a dig against you? Have you had an adult conversation, a mature conversation where you simply talk about how you feel? Because so much can be avoided if you simply sit down and talk about what's happening inside your head. It goes both ways. People in a relationship, they don't suddenly become mind readers. They can't suddenly just read you like that just because they love you. They can't see inside of your brain. They can love you, they can understand you. You could say some people can read you like a book, but they can't actually understand everything that you're going through, which is why communication is so important. The more that me and my boyfriend started talking, the more that we both started communicating the way that we felt. Did this thing that the other person said upset us? Did we misread what they said? At the end of the day, we're all human. We all take offense to things that might not have been meant that way. We all might get emotional at things that really touch us for some reason. Maybe it's past events or traumas, things that other person might know nothing about or didn't even think about when they said or did a certain thing. But simply sitting down and saying, hey, this is how I feel about this. This is what you did. I understand you might not have meant that, so let's talk about this. Let's find a sacrifice of an in-between, or maybe you can stop doing that, or I can tell you next time when I'm feeling this certain way. The more you get out of your head that relationships are supposed to be a particular way, the more you're opening up your mind to the idea that your relationship might not look the same as someone else's. Your boyfriend might not do what other people's boyfriends do for them. Your boyfriend might not communicate the same, might not have the same love language. But what's important is that you and him love each other, that you can be with each other and appreciating each other and respecting each other. That's what a relationship is. It's having feelings, enjoying each other's company, respecting each other. It's not how many times he gives you flowers, how many times he kisses you. Because I could really sit here and say to people over and over again, it doesn't matter if he does this for you. It doesn't matter if he does that for you. He could say, I love you 1,000,000 times, but then go cheat on you the next second. It's about intention. It's about truly how he feels on the inside about you. That's what matters. So many people get caught up in this idea of love, that if he's doing what the people do in the films, that he must be obsessed with you, he must love you. But relationships, they're so much deeper than that. Another really big lesson for me was understanding that love does not mean you put someone else before you. And that was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn, because for me, what I thought love was, like what I'd seen in the films, is obsession with a person, being so unbelievably in love with them that you simply couldn't think of anything else, couldn't do anything else. Everything had to revolve around them because you just couldn't stop thinking about them and you love them so much. It's all crazy and but that is not love. That is obsession. And when you are obsessed with someone, or the way someone makes you feel, or what they're doing for you, you tend to lose sight of the things that they aren't doing for you, the other ways they're making you feel. This is why so many people stay in toxic relationships, because they ignore all the red flags because they're obsessed with the way that he makes them feel. They're obsessed with the fact that he buys them these luxury gifts and flowers all the time. They completely overlook how he disrespects them simply because they're obsessed with the way that he looks or he makes them feel. And that is not healthy. That is not love. That is obsession. And to be obsessed with someone is also to lose sight of yourself. When you're putting so much into this relationship that you're quite literally putting that person above your own needs, your own wants, your own desires, your goals, your dreams. I think it was Gillian Anderson that said, follow your dreams, not your boyfriends, and that couldn't be true enough. This is not about some feminism or whatever you want to call it. This can go both ways, whether you're a guy or a girl, but you should only follow your dreams. You should only be obsessed with your goals, the way that you feel, the way that you treat yourself, and not somebody else. The moment that you give someone that power, you lose it yourself. And when you lose yourself, you lose the power that you have for yourself, that's it. You simply stop. And that's how I felt. I had all these big dreams and I had all of these massive ambitions that I wanted to achieve, but I had a boyfriend. He made me feel good. That's all I cared about. I became obsessed with how he made me feel because I couldn't be that for myself. And because of that, 6 years down the line, I had nothing to prove for myself. Simply, here's my boyfriend. Does that sound good to you? Because to me, that doesn't sound good. The fact that I had done nothing for myself, the fact that I had achieved nothing, the fact that it wasn't just about career or anything like that, but simply I had not bettered myself. I had not progressed mentally at all because I was so focused on him, how he made me feel, how he was filling the gaps that I had, that I didn't do it for myself. I didn't grow at all because I didn't feel like I needed to. Anyway, that's all for me today. I hope you enjoyed my little rant on relationships and love. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment down below and I will try and get back to every single comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this and I will see you in the next one. Bye!